Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jasmine Rogers. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the National Director of Black Feminist Future Action Fund. And I am so excited for the first of many candidate conversations that we're going to be having on this platform. I'm introducing you all to Alana Belle, who is running for Cleveland City Council, Ward 9, with an election in 2 weeks and 1 day, right? But who's
Yes,
counting?
15 days. I am.
Who's counting? Alana, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about your deep love of Cleveland.
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Alana Belle. I use she, her pronouns. I am an artist, activist, organizer from the Glenville neighborhood. That's on the east side of Cleveland. Most people who are not from here, their connection is either the Cavs or Bone Thugs and Harmony. And if you are a Bone Thugs fan, 99th and St. Clair is really significant to you. I'm from 105 in St. Clair, and so that's the place where I grew up. I am Cleveland to my core. I am St. Clair to my core. And it is everything about the culture of the environment, the people that are here, the resources that are here, that I just can't shake. I've lived in a couple other places. Nothing really hits the same way Cleveland hits. And it is a place that I've grown attached to. It's a place that I have had the opportunity to cultivate some of my own work, a place that I've had an opportunity to watch other people and their work flourish. And I'm really excited to see what the future of Cleveland has to hold.
I love that. Now, if you all go to Alana's Instagram, you will see in practice her deep, deep love of Cleveland. All of her canvassing, all of her events are happening at local businesses, are really in the neighborhood. And it also shows you that Alana is not new to this. She's been here, right? She's true to Cleveland. She's Cleveland through and through. She's not someone that's just popping up with photo ops for an election. Like, this is where she's born, raised, bred, and her deep, deep love of there. So, with everything that you've been doing for Cleveland for years, like you said, you're artist, activist, organizer. Like, this is not new for you to be about the people and doing this
Yes.
work. So why did you decide to transition that into running for office, and why right now?
I think I transitioned. The why is because of the now, actually.
Mm,
So I decided to run because I am terrified. If I'm being honest, I am terrified about what's happening in DC. I'm
mm,
terrified about what's happening in Columbus. And Columbus is our state capital. So the things that are happening at the Ohio State House, Ohio is very much functioning like a red state, and it is not safe for my people. And when I say my people, I mean Black folks, I mean people of color, I mean queer people, I mean poor people, I mean people who are at any sort of disadvantage, who experience any sort of marginalization. Um, and the work that I have been doing, mostly in reproductive justice, but also in the environmental justice, economic justice space, has always been about how are we taking care of people who have the least amount of resources. And with the work that I've been doing and the gaps that I see in the neighborhood that I'm from and currently live in still, I think those two things like just kind of align perfectly for this time. I think in Cleveland as a whole, but specifically in Ward 9, we need folks who are going to prioritize St. Clair. We need folks who are going to prioritize the single moms and the folks who
mm,
don't really have it to give but still give it anyway. We need to prioritize the rec centers that are crumbling instead of building new developments.
mm.
I just saw gaps that are very easily fixable, mind you. But I saw gaps, and I know I have the skill set to fill it. And we cannot risk any of these things being lost right now with the shenanigans of the current administration.
I appreciate you framing it as the gaps that can easily be filled, because the gaps, again, in looking at your website and how you show up on social media and even in the conversations that we've had, you're talking about like literal gaps in the neighborhood for resources and the things that people need to be able to make it from day to day and also thrive in Cleveland without feeling that they have to leave. But you're also talking about political gaps, right? Like, you have also talked about bridging the gap between the local community, and like you said, what's happening in the the capital. So how are you bringing the needs of the people from the city all the way up to the state? So can you talk a little bit more about that, because I think that there's so many folks that don't understand how important their local government is, right? That your local government, you probably feel the impact of those things the quickest, right? Those things move so fast. And then they also have a deep connection and a deep relationship with state and then federal. So, can you talk a little bit about that, whether it's about Cleveland or just generally in civic
Mhm.
education, why people need to care about local politics?
Yeah, I definitely think people, if you only gonna choose every 4 years to vote, the presidential election is not the one. It's whatever year your city council and your mayor are running. If they're not running at the same time, your city council. Amen. And so the reason I say that is because these are the people that are deciding what businesses can sell alcohol in your neighborhood, and that is going to determine what behaviors and issues and crowds and things like that are brought in. These are the people that get to determine how the money that goes into your neighborhood are spent. Are they spending a bunch of money to put in, random statues, or are they spending money to make sure the people in your neighborhood have food?
Right,
These are the folks who are going to be deciding, like, the laws that govern your everyday life and the decisions that govern your everyday life. Um, what's happening federally isn't going to be as important if you can't get to work because there's no bus lines, and there's potholes everywhere. You can't walk around your neighborhood because the street lights are all broken. All of these things. So I think when it comes to how your daily life goes and how the daily life of your neighbors go,
right,
local politics is definitely where it's at.
right,
And then when it comes to the connection between, local, state, federal, part of it is money. So you have to have relationships with different folks in different levels and different departments and all of those things to fund the projects that need to happen, right? So these rec centers and museums and apartments and all of these things are not just the responsibility of the city. This is the city, the county, and the state who are all working collectively. So part of it is budgeting and all of those things, but also when it comes to the laws and when it comes to how policy moves, those relationships are going to those relationships are going to influence each other. Those policies are going to influence each other the same way the relationships influence each
yeah.
other.
Mm,
And so if we see a trend of, for example, in 2023, I was doing a lot of work and we passed the Abortion Access Reproductive Freedom Ballot Initiative in Ohio. And so those conversations shifted into conversations for cities and villages
mm,
and townships and all of these things to establish their own abortion advocacy legislation. And while those things don't necessarily, shift the law, like the state law would definitely trump the city and all of those things.
right.
But it's a gesture that shows folks this is a safe space for you to achieve reproductive freedom. We are in alignment with you. It's this idea that the social influences the political influences social. And so when we have the opportunity to like move both of those things in a direction of like
Yep.
progressive values, reproductive justice values, we're setting ourselves up. And most importantly, we're setting the Black women and girls up. We're setting the marginalized folks in our communities up for success.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a really great example when you talk about reproductive justice and reproductive freedom, because I live down in Florida, right? So we had issues, right, passing our abortion ballot measure, but what we also saw were local cities and counties that, like you said, were passing resolutions to say you are safe here to access abortion, and we will do our best to make sure you can get the care that you need. So that is, I think that local, and for me also state government, is a way that if the federal is doing, some crazy stuff, some unethical stuff, that states and local government in partnership can be a place that stops those things from going wild and making it even worse. In the same way, you could talk about sanctuary cities, right, that are protecting folks from the overreach of ICE and immigration enforcement and things like that. Like our local governments matter. And they matter so much. And it matters so much to have progressive Black feminist candidates like Alana that are going to be there in place to support us on the city councils. So, back to your race, talk about what's at stake. You talked a little bit about what's going on and you mentioned shenanigans for a little bit, but what is at stake if people stay home or if people
Mhm.
choose to not vote for you in this election?
Yeah. So, a little bit of context about my race. Every single race across the country is unique. But for my race specifically, I am running against a 24-year incumbent of sorts. And so we have new ward lines. So, technically there are no incumbents, but whatever. But I'm running against the 24-year incumbent who has proven through his words, his actions, and our money, because this is our money.
Mm,
But through his words, his actions, and our money, that his priority is not the people. His priority is not necessarily taking care of those who are in need. It is taking care of those who already have and want to maintain.
mm, mm,
And so for Ward 9 specifically, what's at stake is quality of life on St. Clair. What's at stake is the opportunity to restore your voice and your power. I am running against somebody who was very adamant about denying us participatory budgeting. I
mm.
am running against somebody who's very, very adamant that he only has two jobs, and that is money and legislation. Right. Money and legislation, which means your city services are not important, which means whether or not your babies have school supplies is important, whether or not your family has food is important, whether or not you have adequate housing is important, whether or not you are safe is important. And so for me, what's at stake is all of those things that I talked about before, but also the opportunity for us to have community policing, which is something I'm really, really excited to
Yep.
work on. And not just about, the crime aspect of it, but also building community, reestablishing community, rebuilding the healthy parts of the community that our elder generations had, and healing from the harmful parts of it as well in the
Right.
process. Um, but setting standards for what is and is not acceptable over here. I always say, like, growing up on St. Clair, you are blessed with both grit and grace.
Mm,
And I think if we are very clear with each other around how we want to move into this safer environment, you need less grit. And that's what I want for my nieces and nephews, is for them to have a softer life, a softer entrance into the world, a softer entrance into adulthood, and the responsibility of navigating all of these things, not necessarily on their own, but navigating these things under their own leadership.
mm.
And so I think the biggest thing that's at stake is the future, the future of our lives, the future of our housing, the future of our ability to participate and have a voice in government, but also the future of the city as a whole.
Mm.
For those who are unfamiliar with Cleveland, Cleveland is a city of bridges. A lot of times people talk about the east side versus the west side, and it's like, I ain't crossing the bridge today, I'm not crossing the bridge today. And aside from the bridge, one of the other main things is, like, you see the difference in how money is moved, you see the difference in how resources are maintained, you see the difference in how people live on the west side versus the east side. And a big part of that is collaboration. And with all of the coalition work and collaborative work that I've done in the past, those are skill sets that I'm willing to bring. And I ain't trying to throw shade or nothing, but it's not something that we've seen for the past 24 years be really successful,
Right.
right? And so, yeah, we have an opportunity to not continue with all the things that we've seen. It's not working for everybody.
Mm.
It's working for the people who got money. It's working for the people who have a personal relationship with the existing council person. But we need a government that's going to work for people where the only bias is the need that you have.
Mm, mm. Listen, you just preached many sermons in that, and the one that's really sticking out for me that I feel like will ring true for the folks that'll watch this for Black feminists is that this soft girl era is absolutely about policy and policy making and decision making. Like Okay, like let's talk about like really talk about our ability to live a soft life and how that's being determined at the intersection of race, gender, sexuality, income, and policy. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited. I'm so excited for your candidacy. I'm so excited for the ways that you are running to show folks what is possible and to show how um, the leaders that we need are right there, right? Like they are in community, and we need to trust the folks that are the most impacted. Trust the folks that have the grit and the grace to be able to lead. And I'm so excited that we are able to endorse you and support you in your race. So as we close out, for voters, for donors, for volunteers, what are some final words that you want them to know about you? We know that early voting has started. And
Yes.
there's going to be people that are watching this that are in Cleveland, in Ward 9, all over the country. What do you want people to know about you?
Ooh, okay. um, I would say what I want people to know about me is that, like you said earlier, I'm not new to this. I'm very much true to this. I have more than a decade of organizing both in the nonprofit space, but also on the ground with the people, very much an F-12 scenario, yelling at the police, but also very much in the community, making sure people have food and the baby's hair is done before school and all of the things. I'm committed to the people, and I have organizations, institutions, individuals, family members, friends, community leaders, folks that I'm accountable to. My values have not shifted. The applications and tactics absolutely have. I am not a spring chicken anymore, but my values have not changed, and they will not change once I'm elected into office. And so, if you want somebody in office who is going to remain true to who they are, who is going to continue the path that they are already on in regards to creating a freer world for us, for our families, for our communities. If you want to make sure a black woman is in office, because everything is better when we are in charge,
Listen,
and
listen.
that is a bias I'm comfortable sharing with the public. But in all seriousness, this campaign has, in the most immediate form, about a little bit short of 25,000 people who are relying on somebody to make sure that they are right,
Mm,
and the person who is currently here is not making sure they are right.
yeah.
I am here to do that. I'm built for this.
Yeah.
I'm prepared for this. I'm built for this. I'm prepared for this, but also I am humble enough and gracious enough to be able to pull on the people that I know who are experts, who are experienced, who are qualified to take on this journey, to take on this experience with me. Um, and I hope y'all come along with me. If you are in a position to donate, please, please, please. These campaigns are expensive. We're asking for $9 because we're 9 and I'm corny, and that's fine. But if you have more than 9, we're in the final 2 weeks. We are about $5,000 short of our goal right now. So if you can help us get closer to that 5,000, that would be great. If you are in the city of Cleveland and you have time to hit doors, that is the most important thing. That's what I'm going to be doing about 6 to 8 hours a day from here until November 4th. Please come hit doors with me and my puppy Asada. And
Oh.
then if you're nationally, you have time, there's phone banks that are happening in support of me and my campaign. And if you are in Ward 9, if you want to vote for me blindly, by all means, you do that. But also, I am available and accessible if you want to ask questions. Please visit my website, Belle with the E at the end, Belle for Ward9.com. My Instagram, Facebook page, everything is Belle for Ward 9. Um, if you Google hard enough, my phone number is accessible, but don't do that unless you have to. And yeah, I'm excited to make change. I'm excited to make change. There's never been a black woman that has represented this section of the city.
Mm,
There has never been an openly black queer woman on Cleveland City Council. And I'm looking to fill in a lot of these gaps, not only for the residents in the city, not only for the residents in my ward, but also for representation for all the little dark skinned fat black girls who have not seen themselves be admired for the work that they do or admired for how they show up in spaces with grit and grace. We're gonna make it happen.
Exactly, exactly. So, y'all, Alana Belle running for Cleveland City Council Ward 9. She gave you a lot of things that you could do to get involved, to support her candidacy, to make history with her as the winner in this election. Early voting is happening right now. So, if you know folks that are in Cleveland, if you know folks that are in Ward 9, tell them to go out and support. Go out and vote right now. Election day is November the 4th, and we will be in Cleveland, Black Feminist Future Action Fund, this Saturday and Sunday, canvassing with Alana for our Black Feminist Weekend of Action. So, absolutely join us this weekend. The information is on our Instagram, and the RSVP link is in our bio. Alana, thank you so much for your time today. It has been such a pleasure to get to know you and to see you work and to see your heart for Cleveland. So, I cannot wait to watch you win this election in 2 weeks and 1 day. And I
Yeah.
cannot wait to celebrate with you, because I also know that regardless of what happens on November 4th, we want that win, but your work for Cleveland will not stop. So can't wait to be with you November 5th and onward, to keep working for Cleveland. So thank you so much for your time today, Alana.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. You have been an absolute pleasure and joy to work with. And that lip is fire again
Oh, thank
today.
you.
And I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Just a little
Um,
lip bar, Black owned beauty
okay.
products.
Yeah. Okay, lip bar. I love that. I love that. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to talk with y'all, to build a relationship with you, to be, I think I'm BFFAO's first endorsed candidate.
I think you were the first. You were the first, and it has been a pleasure because you are a member of Black Feminist Future. So, I mean, we're going to build out this work to make sure that we are supporting members and that members feel like running for office is something you could do, right? Like, it's not
Absolutely.
reserved for the rich, it's not reserved for the white. It does not have to be reserved for those folks. Like, we have the leadership capability, we
Mhm.
have the power, like we can make this happen. So that may be, part of our next phase of some candidate recruitment and training.
Listen, yes, I went from teaching twerk classes at Get Free to running for office, and you can do the same.
Exactly, exactly, absolutely. But thank you, Alana. It has been an incredible pleasure. I know you're gonna go knock some doors right now, so we will talk to you later.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.
Bye bye.